chosen one. Why did you wake up at 3 a.m. last night with your heart pounding? Why does every cell in your body feel like it's vibrating with something you can't name? And why did a video about wealth find you when you've spent 70, 80, 90 years learning that money can't heal what's broken inside? Stop, right there. Don't scroll past this. Something just shifted in the heavenly realm, and your spirit felt it before your mind could catch up. You see, you didn't search for this message. This message hunted you down. Because right now, this very second, there's a massive wealth transfer happening in the unseen realm. Not Wall Street, not Washington, heaven's vault. And beloved, the arrow isn't pointing at the mega churches or the prosperity preachers. It's pointing directly at you. I know what you're thinking. I'm too old. I've missed my window. God's big moves are for younger people. But what if I told you that every closed door, every empty bank account, every night you've eaten alone, wondering if anyone remembers your name, what if all of that was divine qualification, not divine rejection? This isn't about your 401k. This is about inheritance, spiritual inheritance, that's been stalking your bloodline for generations, waiting for someone tough enough, broken enough, faithful enough to carry it. You've survived what should have killed you. That's not luck. That's marking. Before we go deeper into this mystery, I want to pause and honor every single one of you who has supported this message through super thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just giving. You're sowing seeds into a harvest that will feed hungry souls across this nation. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here, your support, your time, your attention. It all matters. And if this message is already stirring something ancient in your chest, go ahead and let the Holy Spirit lead your heart. But listen to me carefully. If you can feel something awakening right now, that flutter in your spirit, that heat rising in your chest, that knowing you can't explain, type 99 in the comments. That's not just a number. That's your agreement with heaven. That's you telling the angelic realm, I'm listening, I'm ready, I receive. Because what I'm about to reveal in the next few minutes will shatter everything you've believed about your poverty, your pain, and your purpose. Your long seasons of lack weren't punishment, beloved. They were preparation. And the wealth that's coming? It's not just money, it's vindication, it's restoration, it's heaven saying, I never forgot you. I was just waiting for the right moment to overwhelm you. The vault is open. Your name is being called. The only question is, are you ready to receive what you've been praying for your entire life? Tell me something honest. Have you been checking your bank account more than usual lately? Have you been lying awake calculating how many months you can survive on what's left? Have you felt that cold grip of fear that whispers, you're running out of time and there's nothing left to run on? I see you. God sees you. And what I'm about to tell you is going to shake the foundation of everything you thought you knew about your financial future. You see, while you've been staring at the surface of your life, watching the bills pile up, watching the zeros refuse to multiply, watching everyone else seem to prosper while you barely survive, something massive has been happening in the depths, deep beneath the visible world, in the realm where angels execute divine orders and spiritual currents shift entire destinies. God has been rearranging the flow. The surface looked still. Your circumstances looked stuck. But beloved, an ocean doesn't reveal its deepest movements to those standing on the shore. Currents shift 1,000 feet below where no eye can see, moving with such power that they redirect entire ecosystems. And right now, heaven's financial current is shifting direction. But let me speak directly to your pain for a moment. You've lived through the economic crash of 2008, haven't you? Maybe you lost your home. Maybe you watched your retirement account dissolve like salt in water. You've survived layoffs that came without warning. You've buried spouses who were supposed to grow old beside you, leaving you not just heartbroken but financially devastated. You've faced medical bills that turned into medical mountains. You've known betrayal from business partners, from family members who were supposed to protect you. Yet here you are, Still breathing, still believing, still standing when others half your age have already given up. Do you understand what that makes you? You're not just a survivor, you're a threat to the kingdom of darkness. Because every morning you wake up and choose faith over fear, you're proving that money isn't your God and circumstances aren't your master. And that terrifies hell itself. Let me tell you something the prosperity preachers won't tell you. Wealth in God's kingdom doesn't move by luck. It doesn't flow to those who shout the loudest or claim it the hardest. Proverbs 13:22 says, "The wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous." Stored up, past tense, already allocated, already assigned. Wealth moves by assignment, by divine appointment, by heaven's strategic positioning. And right now, this very hour, funds are detaching from the unfaithful. Money is being extracted from the hands of those who worship it. Resources are being stripped from those who hoarded while their neighbors starved. The greedy, the corrupt, the ones who built empires on the backs of the broken, their season of accumulation is ending. And where is it going? To the steadfast, to the faithful, to those who've been tested in the furnace of lack and came out still praising God. To you, chosen one, to you. But you're asking the question that's burning in your chest right now. Why me? Why now? What did I do to trigger this? And that question, beloved, that's the question that unlocks everything. You didn't trigger this through perfect behavior. You didn't earn this through flawless obedience. You qualified for this through your refusal to quit. Through every morning you got out of bed when depression told you to stay down. Through every bill you paid when the math said it was impossible. Through every prayer you whispered when heaven seemed silent as stone. Matthew 25:23 records the Master's words, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much." Do you hear that? Faithful over a little. He didn't say successful over a lot. He said faithful when you had almost nothing. Your faithfulness in the famine qualified you for abundance in the harvest. But here's where it gets urgent, and I need you to lean in close. This shift, this massive wealth transfer, it has a window. Divine movements operate in seasons, in appointed times, in what the Greeks called kairos moments. And we are in that moment right now. Not tomorrow, not next year, now. Heaven has been watching you for decades, measuring, testing, asking, can I trust this one with wealth? Will prosperity make them forget me, or will it make them more dangerous for my kingdom? And you passed the test, not by being perfect, but by being persistent, not by having all the answers, but by having unshakable faith. So why you? Because you've been hidden in obscurity long enough. Why now? Because the harvest is ready and the laborers are few, and God needs people with resources who remember what it felt like to have nothing. What did you trigger? Your survival triggered it. Your stubborn, beautiful, impossible survival. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal next will explain exactly how this transfer happens and why most people miss it, even when it's staring them in the face. You want to know something that's going to shake you to your core? You weren't chosen because you're perfect. You were chosen because you are trusted. Let that sink in for a moment. Trusted. God doesn't hand his greatest assignments to people who've never been tested. He doesn't place his most valuable treasure in the hands of someone who's never known what it means to lose everything. No, beloved. He reserves his wealth, transfers his supernatural abundance for vessels who have been through the fire and came out refined, not ruined. Some of you survived things your family never even knew about. Nights you almost quit. Days you prayed until your voice broke and your knees ached. Times you held everyone else together while no one, absolutely no one held you. You were the rock everyone leaned on, but who caught you when you were falling? God did, even when you couldn't feel him. Even when the silence was so thick you thought he'd forgotten your address. He was there, taking notes, recording every tear in his bottle. Psalm 56:8 says, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle." Not some of your tears. All of them. But here's what breaks my heart. The enemy has spent decades convincing you that your suffering was evidence of God's absence, that your financial struggles meant you weren't faithful enough, that your loneliness proved you weren't worthy enough, that your age meant you were too late. That's a lie from the pit of hell. Your scars are not your disqualification. Your scars are your credential. Heaven's wealth transfer requires vessels who won't break under pressure, won't waste blessing on foolishness, and won't brag when favor flows. And beloved, you've already passed the test. You're still here, aren't you? Still breathing, still believing, still standing when weaker souls would have crumbled. That's not accident, that's appointment. Think about Job for a moment. This wasn't some young man fresh out of seminary. This was a seasoned man who'd built a life, raised a family, established wealth. And then God allowed everything to be stripped away. Why? Not because Job did something wrong, but because God was about to show the entire universe what a trusted vessel looks like under fire. Job 1-8 records God saying to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him." God wasn't protecting Job from the storm. He was showcasing Job in the storm. And when it was all over, Job 42-12 tells us, "The Lord blessed the latter part of Job's life more than the former part." More than the former part. After everything, after the loss, after the pain, after the questions, more. That's your story, chosen one. Your latter is about to eclipse your former, but you had to go through what you went through to qualify for what's coming. Everything you endured, every sleepless night, every betrayal that cut to the bone, every financial crisis that had you choosing between medicine and groceries, every moment you felt invisible while the world celebrated people half your age with half your wisdom. It was all documented in heaven's archives, not forgotten, documented. God has been building a case file on your faithfulness. Every time you tithed when it made no logical sense, every time you praised him through tears, every time you forgave when bitterness would have been justified, every time you got back up when staying down would have been easier, heaven was recording it all. And now, right now, that file is being presented before the throne. And the Father is saying to the angelic realm, this is the one I can trust with unprecedented blessing. This is the vessel that won't break. This is the heart that won't corrupt. This is the soul that knows me well enough to handle what I'm about to release. Do you understand what I'm telling you? You're not on heaven's forgotten list. You're on heaven's trusted list. And there's a massive difference. Most people want God's blessing, but they haven't been through God's breaking. They want the overflow, but they've never learned to worship in the drought. They want the promotion, but they've never proven themselves faithful in obscurity. But you've been faithful when nobody was watching. You've been generous when you had nothing. You've been kind when life was cruel. You've kept your integrity when compromise would have been profitable. Proverbs 11:25 declares, "A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed." You've been refreshing others for decades while running on empty yourself. But the refresh is coming, beloved. The prosperity is coming. And it's coming because you earned it not through works, but through trust. If this is resonating in your spirit right now, if something deep inside you is saying, "Yes, this is me. This is my story. I need you to do something," write in the comments, "It's me." Don't just think it, declare it. Let your angels see your agreement. Let heaven know you're receiving this word. Because what I'm about to show you next will explain exactly why your darkest season was actually your greatest preparation, and why the wealth that's coming will require every ounce of wisdom you've gained through pain. Dear one, let me ask you something that's going to cut straight to the bone. Why do you think your life has been so much harder than everyone else's? Why have you watched your neighbors retire in comfort while you're still counting pennies at the pharmacy counter? Why did your so-called friends sail through their golden years while you've been drowning in medical bills, family betrayals, and financial catastrophes that came out of nowhere? I'll tell you why. And this truth is going to shatter every lie the enemy has whispered in your ear for decades. You weren't attacked because you were weak. You were attacked because hell saw your future and it terrified them. Listen to me carefully. The devil doesn't waste ammunition on empty vessels. He doesn't deploy his most vicious demons against people who pose no threat to his kingdom. But you've had a target on your back since the day you were born, because the enemy recognized something about your destiny that you're just now beginning to remember. Think about Job for a moment. Job chapter 1 verse 8. God himself pointed Job out to Satan and said, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him." And what happened next? Everything was stripped away. His wealth, his children, his health, his wife's support. But here's what Satan didn't understand. Every attack was actually building something inside Job that comfort never could. Authority. Unshakable faith. The kind of spiritual muscle that only comes from surviving what should have destroyed you. That's your story, chosen one. That's been your life. You remember, don't you? 20 years ago, when your retirement fund evaporated overnight, you'd worked 43 years at that plant, put away every spare dollar, dreamed of finally resting. Then the market crashed, or the company folded, or someone you trusted made one phone call and it all vanished like smoke. You sat at your kitchen table at 2 in the morning, calculator in hand, wondering how you'd survive. That wasn't random. That was a targeted strike. You remember when your own children, the ones you sacrificed everything to raise, turned their backs on you. When they needed college tuition, you were there. When they needed down payments, you liquidated your savings. But when you needed help, when the medical bills started piling up after your surgery, where were they? 3 states away. Too busy. Phone calls unreturned. That abandonment almost killed you, didn't it? That wasn't coincidence. That was spiritual warfare. You remember when your spouse got sick and the insurance company found every loophole to deny coverage. When you sold your home, the home you'd lived in for 37 years, the home where you raised your babies just to pay for treatments that didn't work. When you stood in that empty house on moving day, keys in your shaking hand, wondering if God even remembered your address. That wasn't bad luck. That was hell trying to break your spirit by breaking your bank. But here's what the enemy miscalculated. Here's the fatal flaw in his strategy. He assumed that destroying your finances would destroy your faith. He thought that if he could take away your security, he could take away your song. He believed that poverty would make you curse God and die. But you didn't, did you? Even when your bank account hit zero, even when you had to choose between medication and groceries, even when you felt invisible and forgotten and cast aside by the very world you'd served faithfully for decades, you kept praying, you kept believing, you kept showing up to that empty church on Sunday morning, putting your last $5 in the offering plate, trusting that somehow, some way, God was still good. Malachi chapter 3 verse 10. Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Test me in this, says the Lord Almighty, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will not be room enough to store it. Every dollar you gave when you couldn't afford to give, God was taking notes. Every time you praised him in the poverty, heaven was recording. Every moment you chose faith over fear, trust over terror, worship over worry, you were triggering something in the spiritual realm that the enemy never saw coming. Your endurance wasn't just survival, beloved. It was activation. You see, there are spiritual laws that govern the universe, laws that even hell has to obey. And one of those laws is this: the greater the pressure, the greater the treasure. Romans chapter 8, verse 18 declares, I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. Every attack that should have crushed you was actually compressing you into a diamond. Every financial blow that should have destroyed you was actually increasing your value in heaven's economy. The enemy made one catastrophic mistake. He showed his hand too early. By attacking you so viciously, he revealed exactly what you're carrying. And now that you've survived everything he threw at you, now that you're still standing when others would have crumbled, heaven knows something critical about you. You can be trusted with wealth. Not just any wealth, kingdom wealth. The kind that comes with assignments, not just bank statements. The kind that carries responsibility to heal generations, not just comfort one person. And right now, at this very moment, there's a divine response being prepared. Because every tear you've cried has been stored in heaven's bottles. Every prayer you've whispered has been recorded in eternal archives. And those archives have reached their tipping point. What the enemy meant for your destruction, God has been transforming into your greatest qualification. And the wealth transfer that's coming isn't just repayment, it's recompense, it's vindication. It's God saying, I saw everything, I counted every loss. And now watch what I do when I decide it's time to restore what was stolen from my faithful ones. But you need to understand something crucial about what's about to happen next, because this isn't just about money finding you, this is about you finally understanding why heaven waited until now to release it. Listen to me very carefully, chosen one. What I'm about to tell you is going to shatter every lie you've believed about your financial struggle, your empty years, and your so-called bad luck. The wealth that's coming to you right now is not new money, it's stored money. Money that God has been withholding, not because he forgot about you, but because he was waiting for your spirit to be strong enough to carry it without it destroying you. You hear me? The delay wasn't denial, it was development. Think about this. Every time you wanted to give up but didn't, every morning you woke up at 75 years old, wondering how you'd pay for groceries but still got on your knees to pray every moment. You chose faith over bitterness when your bank account was screaming at you. God was making deposits into a vault you couldn't see. Malachi 3:10 says, "Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Test me in this, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will not be room enough to store it." Floodgates, not trickles, not drips, floodgates. But here's what nobody tells you about floodgates: they only open when the foundation below can handle the flood. If God had released this wealth 10 years ago, 20 years ago, when you were still angry, still bitter, still trying to control everything yourself, it would have washed you away. It would have exposed your weaknesses. It would have destroyed your children's respect for you and turned your grandchildren into entitled strangers. So God sealed the vault. He marked it with your name. And every year, every single year you stayed faithful in the wilderness, another layer of blessing was added. Financial blessing, yes, but also wisdom blessing, authority blessing, influence blessing, the kind of wealth that doesn't just change your circumstances, but transforms your entire bloodline. Now picture this with me. Close your eyes if you need to. Imagine a vault deep in the heavenly realm. Massive steel doors, 10 feet thick, sealed since the moment you survived that diagnosis the doctors said would kill you. Sealed since the day you buried your spouse and everyone expected you to fall apart, but you kept breathing. Sealed since that financial collapse in 2008 when you lost everything but somehow, miraculously, still had faith. Every tear you cried deposited. Every prayer you whispered at 3 a.m. when nobody was listening deposited. Every time you gave your last $20 to someone who needed it more than you deposited. Every moment you chose worship over worry deposited, deposited, deposited. For decades, that vault has been filling up with compound interest from heaven's economy. While you were scraping by on Social Security, while you were clipping coupons and wondering if you'd ever stop worrying about money, God was building something so massive in the unseen realm that when it finally releases, the shockwave will hit 3 generations deep. And beloved, the seal just broke. Do you feel that? That trembling in your spirit, that electricity in your chest that you can't explain. That's not your imagination, that's angels in motion. Right now, this very second, there are heavenly beings receiving coordinates with your address on them. Your name is being called in the courts of heaven. The wealth transfer isn't coming. It's active. But I need you to understand something that's going to require you to make a choice right now. This vault doesn't stay open indefinitely. Divine windows have divine timing. When God says now, He means now. When He opens the floodgates, you don't get to schedule the flood for next month when you feel more ready. Ecclesiastes 3:1 tells us, "To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven." Your season of lack just ended. Your season of overflow just began. But you have to align yourself with what heaven is releasing. How do you align? You receive, not passively, not "I'll believe it when I see it." You receive with your mouth, with your faith, with your declaration that what God has spoken is already done. Right now, I need you to do something that might feel uncomfortable. I need you to open your mouth right where you're sitting, right where you're standing, and say out loud, "I receive it." Say it again. Louder this time, "I receive it." One more time, like you mean it, like you're grabbing hold of what's yours, "I receive it." Type it in the comments so heaven sees your agreement. So the angels know you're ready. So every demon that's been blocking your breakthrough knows their assignment just got cancelled. Because, beloved, what's about to flood your life won't make sense to your logical mind. Money from sources you never applied to. Opportunities that find you instead of you chasing them. Ideas that drop into your spirit at 2 a.m. that turn into income streams. People walking up to you with checks, with contracts, with proposals that seem too good to be true. This is what happens when heaven's vault opens over someone who's been tested by fire and proven faithful. But the question that will determine everything, the question that separates those who receive from those who watch others receive, is this: do you believe the vault over your life is open right now, or are you still waiting for permission to believe in miracles? Now listen to me very carefully, chosen one, because what I'm about to tell you will shatter every lie you've been taught about prosperity, provision, and the way heaven does business. For decades, they told you to work harder, climb higher, hustle more, save every penny, sacrifice everything. And where did it get you? Sitting here at 70, 80, 90 years old, still wondering why the abundance you were promised never showed up at your door. But what if I told you that you've been chasing wealth when wealth has been chasing you? You see, there are 3 divine laws of wealth movement that operate in the kingdom of God. Laws that Wall Street will never teach you. Laws that your financial advisor has never heard of. Laws that only the chosen ones can access. And right now, in this very moment, these laws are activating over your life whether you understand them or not. The first divine law: wealth follows obedience, not effort. Stop working yourself to death, trying to conjure up breakthrough. God is not impressed by your hustle. He's moved by your surrender. Look at Abraham in Genesis 12. God didn't tell him to figure out the plan, create the strategy, or build the empire. God said, "Leave everything you know and go to a place I will show you." And Abraham went. That's it. He obeyed. And the Bible says he became extremely wealthy in livestock, silver, and gold. You've been exhausting yourself trying to force doors open that God never told you to knock on. You've been climbing mountains He never told you to scale. And meanwhile, the wealth that has your name on it has been waiting at the door of obedience, the door you've been too busy to notice. Here's the shocking truth that's going to pierce your heart. Every financial struggle you've endured wasn't because you didn't work hard enough. It was because you were working in the wrong field. God has been trying to redirect you for years, but you kept pushing, grinding, forcing your own way. And beloved, you can't force what God is trying to flow. The second divine law: wealth follows purity of heart, not manipulation. Proverbs 10:22 declares, "The blessing of the Lord brings wealth, without painful toil for it." Did you catch that? Without painful toil. That means if you're straining, scheming, manipulating, cutting corners to get ahead, that's not God's wealth. That's counterfeit prosperity that will crumble the moment you touch it. I'm talking to someone right now who's been tempted to compromise. Maybe it's your integrity. Maybe it's your values. Maybe the enemy has been whispering, just this once. Nobody will know. God will understand. But listen to me. Dirty money carries demonic assignments. Wealth that comes through manipulation will leave through devastation. God is looking for clean hands and pure hearts. He's searching for people who will say, I'd rather have nothing with integrity than everything with compromise. Because when your heart is pure, when your motives are clean, when you're not trying to game the system or manipulate the outcome, that's when heaven opens the floodgates. The third divine law. Wealth follows assignment, not ambition. And this is where most people miss it entirely. They're chasing their dreams when God is trying to download his assignment. There's a massive difference, beloved. Ambition says, what do I want to build? Assignment says, what has God called me to carry? Look at Joseph. He didn't dream of managing Egypt's economy. He dreamed of ruling. Yes, but God had a specific assignment. Save nations from famine. The wealth came when he stepped into assignment, not when he chased ambition. Genesis 41 tells us Pharaoh gave him authority over all of Egypt, not because Joseph was ambitious, but because he carried something the nation desperately needed. At your age, the world calls you retired, but heaven calls you refired. You think your productive years are over. You think God's done using people like you. That's the biggest lie the enemy has ever sold to the senior generation. Moses was 80 when he faced Pharaoh. 80. Caleb was 85 when he said, give me this mountain. Anna was 84 when she prophesied over baby Jesus. Your age isn't your limitation, it's your anointing. You carry wisdom the young don't have. You carry perseverance they haven't built. You carry faith that's been tested by fire. And here's the mystery that will blow your mind. You aren't attracting wealth. Wealth is remembering you. Every seed you planted in secret, every tithe you gave when your bank account was crying, every offering you made when it didn't make sense, every act of generosity when you had nothing left, heaven recorded it all. And right now, the wealth you thought you'd never see is circling back like a boomerang from the throne room of God. Ecclesiastes 11:1 says, cast your bread upon the waters, for after many days you will find it again. After many days. Not immediately, not next week. Sometimes it takes 70 years. Sometimes it takes 80. But it always comes back. So how do you stay in the flow long enough for it to manifest? How do you position yourself to receive what heaven is releasing? Because, beloved, you can be chosen for wealth and still miss it if you don't know how to stay aligned with the current. Now listen to me very carefully, chosen one. Because what I'm about to tell you is the difference between watching this blessing pass you by and stepping directly into the overflow. Heaven has been storing with your name on it for decades. You see, most people think wealth transfer is passive. They think they can just sit back, keep praying the same tired prayers, and somehow money will fall from the sky into their laps. But that's not how the kingdom operates. God doesn't drop blessings on closed fists. He pours abundance into open hands that are positioned to receive. The question burning in heaven right now isn't whether you deserve this transfer. The question is, are you actually ready to receive it? Because here's what breaks my heart. I've watched faithful seniors all across America pray for breakthrough for 30, 40, 50 years. They've tithed when they couldn't afford to tithe. They've sown seeds into ministries while their own gardens were barren. They've believed God for provision while eating the same can of soup for 3 days straight, and yet the blessing never lands. Why? Not because God is withholding it, but because spiritually they're standing in the rain with an umbrella, wondering why they're not getting wet. You cannot receive what you're unconsciously blocking. So let me give you 7 activation moves that will position you to catch every single dollar, every divine opportunity, every supernatural connection that heaven is releasing over your life right now. And I need you to do more than just listen. I need you to implement these like your legacy depends on it, because it does. Activation move number 1. Speak abundance daily. Your voice is not just sound waves, beloved. Your voice is a creative force. Proverbs 18:21 says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." Every morning when you wake up, before your feet hit the floor, I want you to say out loud, "I am a magnet for divine wealth. Money flows to me easily and abundantly." I don't care if your bank account is negative $47. You're not reporting your current reality. You're prophesying your coming reality. Stop speaking lack. Stop saying I can't afford it. Stop announcing your poverty to everyone who listen. Your words are keys, and you've been locking yourself out of your own blessing. Activation move number 2. Stop apologizing for your blessings. How many of you have been taught that humility means staying small, that godliness means staying broke, that spirituality means apologizing every time something good happens to you? That's a demonic lie that's kept God's people in bondage for generations. 3 John 1-2 says, "Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth." Above all things, God wants you wealthy. Stop shrinking when someone compliments your new coat. Stop feeling guilty when you can finally afford to eat out. Humility isn't poverty. Humility is acknowledging that every good gift comes from the Father of lights. Activation. Move number 3. Break emotional ties to lack. This one's going to hurt, but you need to hear it. Some of you have been poor for so long that poverty has become your identity. You're comfortable in struggle. You know how to survive on nothing, and honestly, it makes you feel holy. But lack is not a spiritual atmosphere, it's a demonic atmosphere, and you've been breathing it for so long you don't even recognize it's poison anymore. Right now, I want you to say out loud, "I renounce every agreement I've made with poverty. I break every soul tie with lack. I am a child of the King, and my Father owns the cattle on 1,000 hills." Activation move number 4. Remove draining relationships. You cannot carry people into your wealthy season who are determined to stay broke. I know their family. I know you've known them for 40 years. But if every time you talk to them, they're complaining, murmuring, speaking doubt over your dreams, questioning why you suddenly think you're going to be rich, they're not your tribe. They're spiritual vampires sucking the faith right out of your atmosphere. Proverbs 13:20 warns, "He that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed." You need to make some hard decisions about who gets access to you in this new season. Leaks corrupt the blessing. Activation move. Number 5. Honor your past sacrifices. Every meal you skipped to feed your children, every bill you paid late so someone else could eat, every dollar you gave when your own cupboard was empty, God saw it. Heaven recorded it. And right now, compound interest is being calculated on every seed you've ever sown. Don't you dare minimize what you've survived. Don't downplay your faithfulness. 1 Samuel 30-24 establishes the principle, "As his part is that goeth down to the battle, so shall his part be that tarrieth by the stuff. They shall part alike." Your suffering wasn't wasted, it was an investment, and dividends are about to be paid. Activation move number 6. Prepare physically and mentally. Listen to me carefully. You cannot receive $1,000,000 favor with a $10 mindset. I want you to go home today and organize your finances. Even if it's just $3.47, organize it. Create a budget. Open a savings account. Clean out that junk drawer where you throw bills you're afraid to open. Organization attracts provision. God will not pour new wine into old, dirty, disorganized wineskins. Matthew 25-21 says, "Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things." Show heaven you can steward small before you demand big. Activation move number 7. Stay expectant. Expectancy is the currency of heaven. You have to wake up every single morning expecting something good to happen, expecting that phone call, expecting that check in the mail, expecting that opportunity to present itself. Mark 11:24 says, "What things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them." Not hope, not wish. Believe that you receive. Present tense. It's already done in the spirit realm. You're just waiting for the manifestation in the natural. Now here's the climax, beloved. Everything I just gave you means absolutely nothing if you don't do what I'm about to ask you to do right now. The transfer cannot land in closed hands. It cannot flow into clenched fists. It cannot pour into hearts that are locked up with doubt and fear. So right now, I don't care where you are. I want you to physically open your hands, hold them out in front of you, palms up, open, vulnerable, receiving. And I want you to say these words out loud. Lord, I receive what you've stored for me. I receive the wealth transfer. I receive the overflow. I receive the inheritance. I am ready. I am willing. I am open. Do it now. Say it now. Because the angels are watching, and they're waiting for your agreement before they release what's been assigned to your life. But here's what nobody's telling you about this transfer, and this is going to change everything you thought you knew about timing. Chosen one, close your eyes for just a moment and go back with me, back to those nights when the phone never rang, back to those Thanksgivings when your chair felt invisible at the table, back to those mornings when you woke up and wondered if anyone on this earth still remembered your name. You prayed. Oh, how you prayed. You got on your knees at 3 a.m., those sacred, terrible hours when the darkness feels like it has weight, and you cried out to a God who seemed a million miles away. Your words felt like they were bouncing off the ceiling, evaporating into nothing. You whispered, "Lord, are you even there?" And the silence that came back nearly broke you. But what if I told you something that's going to shatter everything you've believed about those years? What if the silence you interpreted as abandonment was actually the sound of heaven's most intensive preparation? Listen to me carefully, beloved. Your adult children didn't call as much as they used to. Your grandchildren grew up speaking a language you couldn't understand, technology, social media, a world that seemed to forget the wisdom of age. Your church changed. The pastor you trusted retired or passed on. The friends who knew your story, the ones who really knew you, they moved to Florida, or they went home to glory, one by one, until you felt like the last soldier standing on a battlefield everyone else had abandoned. And in those moments, in that crushing loneliness, you made a decision. You decided that maybe you didn't matter anymore. Maybe your season was over. Maybe God had moved on to younger, shinier vessels, while you were left to count down your days in silence. But dear one, that wasn't silence. That was strategy. The prophet Elijah knew this pain. 1 Kings chapter 19 tells us he ran into the wilderness, sat under a broom tree, and begged God to let him die. "I have had enough, Lord," he said. "Take my life." This mighty prophet who had just called down fire from heaven was ready to quit because he felt alone, forgotten, finished. But then God showed up. Not in the earthquake, not in the wind, not in the fire. God showed up in a still small voice, in what the Hebrew calls the sound of gentle stillness. And in that whisper, God gave Elijah his next assignment. The silence wasn't the end of his calling. It was the reset before his greatest chapter. Your silence has been your reset. You see, God doesn't waste time. He doesn't put his chosen ones on a shelf and forget about them. No, beloved. When heaven goes quiet, it's because the divine architect is working in the unseen realm, rearranging circumstances, repositioning people, restructuring your entire future while you sleep. Isaiah 64:4 declares, "Since ancient times no one has heard, no ear has perceived, no eye has seen any God besides you, who acts on behalf of those who wait for him." Did you catch that? He acts, present tense, active. He's been acting on your behalf this whole time, even when you couldn't see it, even when you couldn't feel it, even when every circumstance screamed that you'd been abandoned. Your loneliness was God's incubation chamber. Your isolation was his intensive training program. Your silence was the cocoon where he was transforming you from someone who needed constant validation into someone who carries unshakable authority. Think about Joseph, 17 years old when he received his dreams of greatness, but then betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, thrown into prison, forgotten by the very people who promised to remember him. For 13 years, Joseph sat in the silence, wondering if God had made a mistake, if the dreams were just childish fantasy, if he'd somehow missed his destiny. But Genesis 50-20 reveals the mystery. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. Every year of silence was a year of strategic positioning. Every moment of abandonment was actually divine appointment. And you, dear one, while you've been sitting in that apartment, that nursing home, that quiet house where the walls know your voice better than any living person, God has been in his midnight workshop, forging something inside you that the comfortable will never possess. Your adult children didn't understand you because you were being prepared for spiritual children who desperately need what you carry. Your church changed because God was weaning you off human systems so you'd learn to hear his voice directly. Your friends passed on because heaven needed you to develop a friendship with the Almighty so intimate, so unshakable, that no earthly relationship could compete with it. The silence wasn't the absence of God. It was the presence of God doing his deepest work, the kind of work that requires no audience, no applause, no witnesses, just you and him in the secret place where kings and queens are made. But here's what you need to understand right now, and I need you to feel the weight of this in your bones. The silent years are ending. The incubation is complete. The cocoon is about to split open, and what emerges won't be the same person who crawled in all those years ago. If you've ever felt forgotten, but now you're beginning to see the pattern, if you're starting to recognize that maybe, just maybe, the silence was sacred, type these 3 words in the comments right now. God never left. Because, beloved, what's about to be birthed from your years of hiddenness will shock even you. But first, you need to understand exactly what heaven was protecting you from while you thought you were being punished. Listen to me, chosen one. Your real battle was never about money. It was never about that foreclosure notice in 2008. It wasn't about the retirement fund that vanished, or the bills stacking up on your kitchen table. The enemy didn't care about your bank account. He cared about your name. Your name carries spiritual coordinates. Did you know that? In the Hebrew tradition, a name isn't just what people call you. It's your identity, your destiny, your divine assignment encoded in sound. When God changed Abram to Abraham, he wasn't being poetic. He was activating a new frequency. No longer shall your name be called Abram, but your name shall be Abraham, for I have made you the father of a multitude of nations. Genesis 17:5. One letter shift, one divine edit, and suddenly nations flowed from his loins. But the enemy knows this too, and for 70, 80, 90 years he's been waging war over your name. Think about it. How many times have people mispronounced your worth? How many times did they reduce you to a label, just a secretary, just a factory worker, just a grandmother with nothing left to offer? How many times did your own children look at you with pity instead of honor? How many times did society tell you to sit down, shut up, step aside because your season was over? That wasn't random disrespect, beloved. That was coordinated spiritual warfare designed to make you forget the name heaven engraved on your soul before time began. The devil tried to rename you average. He tried to stamp forgotten across your forehead. He whispered irrelevant every time you looked in the mirror. He spent decades convincing you that the name your mama gave you was all you'd ever be. Nothing special, nothing anointed, nothing that could shake kingdoms. But he lied. Revelation 2:17 says, "To the one who conquers I will give some of the hidden manna, and I will give him a white stone, with a new name written on the stone that no one knows except the one who receives it." A new name, A secret name. A name so powerful that hell trembles when heaven speaks it. That's your name, chosen one, not the one they put on your birth certificate, not the one they called you in school when they bullied you, not the one your ex-spouse screamed during that final argument. Your real name, the one written in heaven's ledger before the foundation of the world. And here's what the enemy fears most. When you finally remember that name, when you finally speak it with authority, wealth follows those coordinates like a heat-seeking missile. You see, money doesn't flow to people. Money flows to purpose. Money follows assignment. Money tracks divine identity. And your identity has been hidden under decades of false names, false labels, false limitations. But right now, something is breaking. Can you feel it? That pressure in your chest? That's not anxiety. That's your real name, trying to break through 70 years of silence. That's the sound of heaven cracking open the vault and saying, their season of anonymity is over. Jacob wrestled with God all night at Peniel. Genesis 32-28 records the moment everything shifted. Then the man said, "Your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel. For you have striven with God and with men, and have prevailed." Jacob means deceiver. Israel means prince with God. One night, one wrestling match, one name change, and suddenly he wasn't running anymore, he was ruling. How long have you been running, beloved? Running from the calling you felt as a child, running from the dreams that seemed too big, running from the wealth that scared you because you didn't think you deserved it. But what if God has been waiting for this exact moment when you're too old to care what people think, too tired to pretend anymore, too close to eternity to waste another day hiding to finally reveal your true name? The wealth transfer isn't about giving money to random people. It's about heaven relocating resources to those whose names carry the frequency of divine purpose. And your name, dear one, has been vibrating in the throne room for decades. Every time you prayed in secret, your name echoed in heaven. Every time you tithed when you couldn't afford it, your name was recorded in the books. Every time you kept believing when everyone else quit, your name grew louder in the spiritual realm. And now, the angels are saying, it's time. Release the wealth to the one whose name we've been hearing for 80 years. But here's what you must do. You must reclaim it. You must speak it. You must stop letting the world define you and start letting heaven identify you. If you feel bold right now, if something in your spirit is rising up and saying, yes, this is me, I want you to do something that might feel strange, type your name in the comments, not your nickname, not what people call you. Your full name, the name your parents spoke over you, the name that's been waiting to be activated. Because when you type that name, you're not just commenting, you're making a declaration. You're telling hell, you tried to erase me, but heaven already engraved me. You're telling the principalities, my name is written in gold, and wealth follows these coordinates. Heaven already wrote your name, now earth must hear it. But there's something else you need to understand about this wealth transfer, something about timing that will explain why it's happening now and not 20 years ago. Listen to me carefully, chosen one. I need to tell you something about your family that's going to shake you to your core. You grew up poor, didn't you? Not just broke poor. The kind of poor where your mother reused tea bags, where your father worked 2 jobs and still couldn't afford to take you to the dentist, where Christmas meant 1 toy if you were lucky, and dinner meant stretching 1 chicken across 3 days. But here's what breaks my heart. Your parents weren't lazy. Your grandparents weren't foolish. They worked themselves into early graves. They sacrificed everything. They prayed until their knees wore grooves in the wooden floor beside their beds, and still they never tasted freedom. They died carrying the same financial curse their parents carried. And their parents before them, 3 generations, 4 generations, maybe 5, all running the same race, all hitting the same invisible wall. Why? Because, beloved, there's something the enemy doesn't want you to understand. Deuteronomy 28:12 promises that the Lord will open to you his good treasure, the heavens, to give the rain to your land in its season, and to bless all the work of your hand. But that same chapter warns that disobedience brings curses to the third and fourth generation. Your ancestors, somewhere back in your bloodline, a door was opened to poverty, and it's been passed down like a poisoned inheritance ever since. But right now, in this moment, something is shifting. You see, your grandmother, the one who died with empty pockets but a full prayer life, she wasn't praying for herself, she was praying for you. When she whispered those desperate prayers at 2 a.m., when she fasted and cried out to God saying, "Lord, let somebody in my family know your abundance," she was prophesying over your future. Your grandfather, the one who worked in that factory for 43 years and never got the promotion when he died, he didn't just leave you photographs and memories. He left you prayers, stored up intercessions, spiritual investments that have been accumulating interest in heaven's bank for decades. Every tear they cried, God collected it. Psalm 56:8 says, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book." Not just recorded, collected, saved, invested. And now the vault is opening. The wealth transfer that's happening right now isn't just about you finally getting a financial breakthrough. This is about heaven finishing what your ancestors started. This is about God saying, "I heard every prayer your grandmother whispered. I saw every sacrifice your grandfather made, and I'm about to pay the debt this family is owed." Close your eyes for a moment. Can you see them? Behind your breakthrough stands a line of people. Your great-great-grandmother who died in childbirth but prayed over her belly before she passed. Your great-grandfather who sharecropped land he'd never owned but still believed God was faithful. Generations of warriors who fought battles in the spirit realm that you never even knew about. They're watching you right now. Hebrews 12:1 calls them a great cloud of witnesses. They're not ghosts, they're cheerleaders. They're standing in the heavenly realm, leaning over the banister of eternity, watching to see if you'll receive what they died believing for. This is why you've felt that weight on your shoulders your whole life. This is why you've always known you were meant for more. This is why, even in your golden years, when the world says your time is over, your spirit still burns with hunger for breakthrough. Because you're not just carrying your own dreams, you're carrying the accumulated dreams of everyone who came before you. You are the answered prayer they never lived to see. But here's what's going to wreck you. The wealth that's coming to you isn't just money, it's compensation. It's heaven's way of saying, "I'm paying back everything the locusts ate from your family line." Joel 2:25 promises, "I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten." Not just your years, your family's years. Every Christmas your mother couldn't afford presents, God's accounting for it. Every time your father had to choose between medicine and groceries, heaven's tallying the bill. Every opportunity your family missed because poverty held them back, the Almighty is calculating the interest. And you, chosen one, you're about to receive a lump sum payment for generations of faithfulness. This isn't receiving wealth, this is receiving compensation, this is restitution. This is God balancing the books and saying, "Your family has overpaid for their mistakes. It's time for the refund." But I need you to understand something that's going to determine whether you receive this or not. Your ancestors did their part. They prayed, they believed, they held on. Now it's your turn. You have to be willing to break the curse they couldn't break. You have to be willing to receive the blessing they died reaching for. If someone in your bloodline prayed for you and beloved, someone did. If you can feel the weight of their intercession on your life right now, write it in the comments. I'm the answered prayer, because the vault isn't just open, it's overflowing. And the question heaven is asking right now is this: will you have the courage to receive what your ancestors died believing you would inherit? Let me ask you something that's going to cut straight to the bone. How are you still here? No, really. Think about it. That heart attack in '98 that the doctors said should have killed you. That car accident where they pulled you from twisted metal and couldn't explain why you walked away. That depression so deep you stood at the edge, literally stood there, but someone pulled you back. That diagnosis they gave you 15 years ago, with a timeline that's long expired, yet here you sit, breathing, listening, alive. How are you still here? You want to know what breaks my heart? It's watching God's chosen ones dismiss their survival as luck, as good genes, as modern medicine, as coincidence. But beloved, there is no such thing as coincidence in the kingdom of God. Your survival wasn't random, it was prophetic. Listen to what the psalmist declared in Psalm 118-17. I will not die but live, and will proclaim what the Lord has done. David didn't whisper that from a comfortable palace. He shouted it from battlefields, from caves, from moments when death was breathing down his neck. He understood something you need to understand right now. Survival is the receipt for your future inheritance. Think about Job. Everything stripped away, boils covering his body, his own wife telling him to curse God and die, his friends accusing him of secret sins, sitting in ashes, scraping his sores with broken pottery. But Job 42:12 tells us, the Lord blessed the latter part of Job's life more than the former part. More than the former part. Not equal to, not slightly better. More, double portion, double blessing, double wealth. But here's what nobody tells you about Job's story. He had to survive the stripping before he could receive the doubling. The blessing came because he endured what should have destroyed him. You're still here, chosen one, because hell threw everything it had at you and failed. The cancer that ravaged your body? It was a weapon aimed at your destiny. The spouse who walked out after 43 years? That was spiritual warfare trying to break your faith. The financial collapse that left you eating off dollar store shelves? That was the enemy attempting to starve out your calling before it could fully manifest. But you're still standing. That's not because you're strong. That's because you're marked. There's a difference between human resilience and divine protection. Human resilience runs out. Divine protection doesn't have an expiration date. Look at what happened to the Hebrew boys in Daniel chapter 3. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego thrown into a furnace, heated 7 times hotter than normal. 7 times. The soldiers who threw them in died from the heat before they could step back. But these 3, they walked around in that fire like it was a spring afternoon in Central Park. And when they came out, they didn't even smell like smoke. Here's what that means for you right now. You've been in furnaces that should have consumed you. Emotional furnaces, financial furnaces, physical furnaces, mental furnaces. But you came out, and the only thing that burned off was the ropes that were binding you. Your survival was the bonfire that burned away every limitation, every chain, every curse that was trying to keep you from this moment. The enemy couldn't kill you because he couldn't kill what was coming through you. You think you're alive because the hospital helped you. The hospital was just a vessel. You're alive because heaven wasn't done with you. You think you survived that breakdown because of therapy? Therapy was a tool. You survived because your assignment wasn't complete. You think you made it through that financial devastation because of disability checks and food stamps. Those were provision. You made it because God was protecting the wealth transfer He'd already authorized in the spiritual realm. Every scar on your body is a testimony. Every pill bottle in your medicine cabinet is evidence. Every year past your doctor's prediction is a declaration that when God says you're going to live, death has to take a seat and shut its mouth. In Acts 27, Paul was on a ship heading to Rome when a violent storm hit. For 14 days, they saw neither sun nor stars. The crew gave up hope. They threw cargo overboard. They prepared to die. But Paul stood up and said, I urge you to keep up your courage, because not a man of you will be lost. Only the ship will be destroyed. And you know what happened? All 276 people survived, not because of their sailing skills, Because one man had an assignment from God that couldn't be interrupted by a storm. You are Paul in that storm. You've been battered. You've been thrown around. You've watched everything you built go overboard. But you're still here. And if you're still here, that means your assignment is still active. That means the wealth transfer has your name on it. That means everything you've survived was protecting what you're about to receive. So let me ask you one more time, and I want you to feel the weight of this question. How are you still here? If you've survived something that medical science can't explain, something that statistics said was impossible, something that should have been your end but became your testimony, I need you to type this in the comments right now. I should not be here, but I am, because your survival story is about to become your inheritance story, and what's coming next will prove that every battle was worth it. You know what nobody tells you about divine wealth transfers? They don't announce themselves with trumpets and fanfare. They whisper. They move like fog rolling through the streets of Manhattan at dawn, silent, unstoppable, changing everything in their path. And right now, beloved, that fog is surrounding your life. For months, maybe years, you felt something shifting. You couldn't name it. You couldn't explain it to your children when they asked why you seemed distant. You couldn't even articulate it in your prayers. But it's been there, hasn't it? That sense that the spiritual atmosphere around you has changed frequency. Let me tell you something that's going to make your spirit leap. There are 3 undeniable signs that a massive wealth transfer is not coming. It's already in motion. And if even one of these signs is showing up in your life right now, you need to understand what heaven is doing behind the scenes. The first sign is the most mysterious, and it's happening inside your chest right now. You've experienced a sudden, unexplainable, internal calm. Not the kind of peace you pray for, the kind that descends without warning. It's like your soul just exhaled after holding its breath for 3 decades. You've been in financial storms, health battles, family warfare for so long that chaos became your normal. But lately, something's different. The panic is gone, the desperation has lifted, and in its place is this strange, unshakable knowing that everything is about to shift. Do you know what that is? That's not resignation. That's not you giving up. That's the peace of God that surpasses all understanding. Philippians 4-7, settling over your life like a blanket before the breakthrough. It's the calm before heaven moves. Think about it. Before Jesus raised Lazarus, what did he do? He waited. He delayed. He let everyone panic while he remained perfectly calm. Why? Because he knew what was about to happen. Your supernatural calm is proof that God knows what's about to happen in your life. But here's where it gets eerie. That peace you're feeling, it doesn't make sense to your circumstances. Your bank account still looks the same. Your bills are still due. Your situation hasn't changed on paper. Yet something inside you has stopped worrying. That's not human psychology, that's prophetic positioning. Your spirit is receiving a download from heaven before your natural eyes can see the manifestation. The second sign is going to shock you because you've been noticing it but dismissing it as coincidence. Strange alignments are happening all around you. Numbers that follow you. Maybe you keep seeing 11, 11, or 333, or your birth date everywhere you look. Dreams that feel less like sleep and more like divine briefings. People from your past suddenly reaching out after years of silence. Conversations that happen at the exact moment you needed to hear those specific words. Books falling open to passages that speak directly to your situation. Listen to me carefully. The devil doesn't waste time orchestrating divine alignments. Those aren't accidents. Those are heaven's way of saying, pay attention, we're moving. In Acts 10, God gave Cornelius a vision at the exact same time he was giving Peter a vision miles away. 2 men who'd never met, being synchronized by heaven for a divine appointment that would change the trajectory of the early church. That's what's happening in your life right now. God is aligning circumstances, people, and moments with supernatural precision because what's coming requires perfect timing. You've been seeing the signs, but the enemy's been whispering. That's just your imagination. Don't get your hopes up. You've been disappointed before. But chosen one, when God is moving, the coincidences become too precise to ignore. Joseph had dreams at 17, and every single one came true by the time he was 30. Your divine alignments aren't random, they're roadmaps. But the third sign is the one that's been breaking your heart, and you need to understand what's really happening. People are pulling away from you without explanation. Friends who used to call every week have gone silent. Family members who were close suddenly feel distant. Even your church community seems different, like you're speaking a language they can't understand anymore. And it hurts, doesn't it? You've been asking God, what did I do wrong? Why am I being isolated? But what if I told you that separation is not rejection, it's preparation? Before God promoted Joseph to second in command of Egypt, what happened? His brothers sold him into slavery. His master's wife falsely accused him. The cupbearer forgot about him in prison. Every human connection was severed. Why? Because God needed Joseph to depend solely on him. The wealth that was coming was so massive that if Joseph had still been clinging to human approval, it would have destroyed him. Your isolation isn't punishment, beloved. It's divine insulation. God is removing voices that would contaminate what He's about to release. He's clearing your life of people who can't handle your next level. He's protecting you from relationships that would try to control or manipulate the resources He's about to place in your hands. Proverbs 18:24 says, "There is a friend who sticks closer than a brother." God is making Himself that friend because what's coming requires a level of trust that only solitude can build. If even one of these three signs is active in your life right now, that inexplicable peace, those strange divine alignments, or that painful but purposeful separation, then listen to me with everything in you. The wealth transfer isn't approaching. It's already in motion. Heaven has already released it. The angels are already moving it into position. It's inches, literal inches, from breaking through into your natural reality. But here's the urgent truth you need to hear. What I'm about to reveal next will determine whether you receive what's been released or miss it entirely. Because there's a final step, a divine activation that most people never discover, and without it, the transfer stalls at your doorstep. Do not leave this video. The next part will show you exactly how to position yourself to receive what heaven has already sent. Beloved chosen one, as we come to the end of this sacred moment together, I need you to remember three eternal truths that will anchor your soul in the days ahead. First, the wealth transfer isn't something you're waiting for, it's already in motion. Heaven has released it. The signs are appearing in your life. Your supernatural calm, those divine alignments, that painful separation, they're all evidence that God is positioning you for overflow. Second, your age is not your disqualification, it's your credential. Every year you've lived, every storm you've survived, every tear you've cried has been preparing you for this moment. Moses was 80 when God promoted him. Sarah was 90 when she birthed nations. Your greatest chapter isn't behind you, it's unfolding right now. Third, your past poverty was never punishment, it was preparation. God wasn't withholding from you, He was qualifying you. Because the wealth that's coming requires the character that only decades of faithfulness can build. But here's what I need you to understand with absolute certainty. You are not walking this journey alone. The God who opened the Red Sea is still opening doors for you today. The God who provided manna in the wilderness is still providing for you now. And beyond His presence, you have a community right here, thousands of believers who understand your struggle, who believe in your calling, and who are ready to stand with you in prayer. So let me ask you this final question, and let it settle deep in your spirit. If God has brought you this far through every valley, every closed door, every season that tried to break you, why would He abandon you now at the threshold of your greatest blessing? Before I release you, join me in this prayer. Place your hand on your heart right now. Heavenly Father, I lift up every precious soul hearing these words. Lord, you see their empty bank accounts and their full hearts. You know their struggles and their faith. Right now, in this sacred moment, I pray that you would release the wealth transfer that's already been decreed in heaven. Open doors no man can shut. Provide resources from unexpected sources. Surround them with divine favor. Father, give them supernatural peace for today and unshakable hope for tomorrow. Let them feel your presence so strongly that fear has no place to land. Bless their families, heal their bodies, restore their finances, and awaken their purpose. And Lord, let them know deep in their bones that they are not forgotten, not forsaken, and not alone. In Jesus' mighty name, Amen. Now, I want to hear from you. Comment below and tell us what sign you're experiencing right now. Are you feeling that supernatural calm, seeing those divine alignments, walking through that painful separation? Share your testimony, because someone else needs to know they're not alone in this season. And if this message has touched your soul, please share it with someone who needs to hear that their breakthrough is closer than they think. You might be the vessel God uses to encourage another chosen one who's about to give up. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. We're building a family here, a community of chosen ones who refuse to settle for less than God's best. Thank you for staying with me through this entire journey. Your faithfulness to watch until the end tells me everything I need to know about your heart. The transfer is activated. Your name is on heaven's list. Now go and receive what's already been released. God bless you mightily, chosen one. Your wealth is coming.